Hi, this is Mia. This is a check-in video. Sorry about the lighting. I still haven't replaced my ring light, and um, I haven't plugged in this lamp over here. I should do. So this is a check-in video. It is 9 o'clock, almost 9 o'clock on Sunday night before Labor Day. I have this black piece of fabric. The other one's the orange. You guys saw. I forgot about it. I had the black and yellow flowers. That was up here. That's thinner. Something's telling me to do it's not going to be very big. It's going to be a little bit long too. There's holes in this part though. You might be able to see actually with this light. If I can block the whole light. I don't know. Anyways, trust me. There's like little, oh yeah, you could see it like that, right? See all those holes in it? So it probably doesn't matter. So this will be, something's telling me to do the batting that I cut the other day. It was like several weeks ago. So the kitchen chairs or outdoor rusted out wrought iron or something chairs. So something telling me pull this out of the cloth thing, quilt it. I didn't wash it yet, but quilt it. You can see that it's crooked too. It's wider on the bottom, and put it in the chair. But I don't like using fabric because I'm always afraid that I want to use it for something else. So this one, the gray one, I don't know why I got the gray one. Maybe it's cotton flannel. I think it is cotton flannel. Usually flannel is like, what, polyester or milk bottles or whatever they use. We had so most of the fabrics I buy are cotton. Some of them are not. Missing the glitter ones. I don't know what the glitter one is. Sorry, I had different thoughts just now. I know what the glitter one is. It's a big mess. I feel like I should spray it with some glue or something. I don't know. I gotta figure out what to do with the glitter one, actually. I should make, like, something and stick it on a wall and don't touch it because it just gets glitter everywhere, which I used to love, but I don't know, it's too much. I almost want to, it's got snowflakes. I almost want to make a curtain so that the sun shines on it and it, like, brightens things up. So I'll think about that. So a year ago, I thought I was going to be homeless and have to make my way back to our house where my kids are. And so I got these as curtain and it's just remnant, so I didn't know how long it really was, to put over the windows. So people were saying they were taking minivans or whatever, going in normal neighborhoods and putting out the fabric and blocking off. I can't remember who it was. Maybe it was Rusty 78609. Took cutouts. I don't know if you buy them or not. You get cutouts that fit your window. There's probably a lot of people that do this. Anyways, you get cutouts and you cut out your window shapes. And you get the fabric and then you push the cutout in and then it's like completely blocks out the windows. And then I don't know. I guess you do the same thing for the back and the front. I was trying to remember. So I watch a lot of stuff on how to, and then it gets a little fuzzy, but I guess that's all you need to know. So one way or another, I was going to do that. And Lost Renegades, they're also living in a van. So I ended up not living in a van, and I hated not having money. I had money to buy a house, and we spent it all on rent. I had money to do all the closing costs and the down payment on the house, and it all went to rent. And I am sick over that because I didn't invest it into something that I owned or could own after I paid off the bank and could pass it on to my kids. So that's a nightmare in itself. So it was a little more than a year ago. It's just been a roller coaster. I find myself complaining about people that say I can't or that I'm not. They'll say, people like you can't be a doctor. and I'll go to school and become a doctor. And then people say, people like you aren't doctors. You're not. Or doctors, other doctors say, oh, I'm a doctor, but you're not a doctor. So you can't be a doctor. Why? Because I'm black. Like, because I'm single, I have kids, and I don't have a ring on my finger. So this video is, I've had somebody make a comment that I completely chose the wrong profession and all this stuff. And I don't feel like I did. I was working 3, 4, 5, 6 jobs and trying to run a medical clinic without a clinic space. Or the clinic space was not usable for whatever reason, or I was having a clinic space that I was going to pay a percentage. I found out that was illegal. And then I was going to be like, well, I'll just take, I won't charge to, I don't know. I didn't know what to do. I was like, I'll pay a monthly fee for the room. And they never put that. I got in a car accident, so I didn't deal with it because it was, an hour drive to get to it. And I couldn't drive because I was injured from the car accident. So by the time, and I ended up driving to birth, but that was sort of like birth, it wasn't like going to a clinic. I think it was once or twice a week. I ended up having the doctor I was shadowing for whole birth. She opened up a clinic satellite close to where I actually live, so there was more people close to me. Yeah, thank God. Like, I crossed my fingers, like, thank God. Bless them. So it actually did make it easy. I was really smart, actually. So I'm also a naturopathic midwife in Oregon, but I'm not there right now. And I have been contacting from Delaware to Maryland to Vermont for the past 2 years. I've been contacting doctors and midwives to get some information about anything about me doing work with them. And I've been attending births as a program, like as a professional. I did it as a physician with physicians, and then I had a few with certified practical midwives. And then towards the end of my medical school, I took a doula training, so I did it. It's a whole different genre, I guess, of birthing professionals. Since 2013, I had birthed my 2 kids unassisted. Way before that, so I'd say I just want to do estimate. Oh, is it 13 years? Around 13 years prior to that, I had done my own births, did my own pregnancy. I calculated my daughter's birth date, like it was within 7 days, and I didn't even know what I was doing. I didn't have any book or magazine or doctor or that wheel that I have right here, but I knew it. I knew when it was. Because I counted. I didn't even know how I knew anything. I watched a lot of TV. I learned stuff by reading books and watching TV and going to school. We all had to go to school, but really trying to learn as much as I could. I feel really guilty. When I got sober, guys, I told someone I need to forget about my past. I should throw away all the pictures of me and my family from before my clean and sober date. She's like, no, don't do that. And I'm so glad that person, and people lose their stuff in floods and stuff, but I'm so glad that I didn't just throw away stuff, because my kids will look and be like, oh, I missed this picture. Oh, I remember this. Oh, I remember when you took us to this camp and it was fun. And I was like, oh, I didn't know that you had fun. I'm glad you have good memories, right? And memories of the memories. Memory, looking at the pictures, stimulating your memory. So I have an issue with people saying you can't, and people like you can't, and people like you. And it's making me feel like a piece of property, enslaved person, a cow. Like, what is the cow? I don't have a cow. Eat grass, make milk, have babies make milk. I don't know. Like, I'm not an animal. I am not an enslaved person. There's a lot of segregation despite their legality of it. It's very, very, very real and bigger today than it was for me in my life 10 years ago. So I feel isolated, and I feel like I kind of seriously don't like the isolation and the lack of being able to network. I'll go to like 12-step meetings, or I'll go see some birthing people and families, and they'll have these crowds of people. Everyone's bringing gifts, throwing the parties. They had the wedding party, or the engagement party, and then the the bachelorette party, and then the wedding party, and the after wedding party, and the honeymoon, and then the housewarming party, and every little thing they have all these gifts and people, and congratulations, and we're showing up at your house, and we're giving you money, and we're helping you build. They have a community of related and non-related people that help them build and strengthen their own selves. First of all, it makes them compatible with their partner, that builds strength in that relationships, and helps them build love and help with their home. And then when they start having kids, they're having baby showers, and people are bringing the stuff on their target list. And I get envious of it, because I'll ask 1 or 2 or 3 people for help a year, and it's been a disaster. And I'm trying to be really focused on my higher power, because I feel like I'll drive myself crazy by not doing what I need to do, I guess, what I'm destined to do in life, because I'm being told, no, you can't. I feel like you can be told by the world that you're not good enough. You could be told by your teachers that you'll never amount to anybody. I'm not alone in this. A lot of people, I can't inventory the whole world, but say that there's a few people that get that. You can't, you're not good enough, you're not pretty enough, you're not light enough, your hair is not the right texture or color or this or length. How many times was I called sir in my life in Portland? Sir, hello, sir, good evening, sir. And I have some of these people, maybe it's not even a lot, they had family that says, don't listen to those people, good job, you can try, you might not succeed, but you could do anything you put your heart to. I don't think that's definitely true. I wish maybe I should believe it, but I've been struggling. Can I be your model? I tried to be, I got turned down. Like, you don't have to imagine why. People can say, try. If you try, at least you'll know whether you succeeded. If you don't succeed, maybe your path was here, but if you didn't start this path, you wouldn't have seen that fork in the road or whatever, And it doesn't mean that you can't, like me, go towards being a physician, taking a break to have kids, and then wrapping back around, and then trying to be slow like I am, or I have been in the past. So I have to think about that. And then there's still a lot of people like me that didn't have a family support, or I've known foster kids from our old church where they turn 18 and they're goodbye. They're struggling. They're homeless. They don't have money. They don't have a car. They can't drive. They're homeless. Their cell phone, they contact me and I don't know. I heard from them 2-3 times. These people called me. I believe one of these girls from my old church. I'm going to cry. I must have seen her at church before she turned 18 or something happened. She showed up. And I said, here's my number if you just give me a call. And she was so struggling with her partner. And she was homeless and didn't have anything. I was like, can't you call your parents? Those people raised you until you're 8. No, I'm not allowed. I'm a foster kid. We're not allowed to talk to them. I was like, can't they at least give you a little bit of money to get a hotel room or something? Like, no, we're not allowed to. So it's like I feel like if I became a foster parent, I would be like at 11, 12, like I would try to adopt the child. It's not always, you're not always able to do that. I feel like I would, like, oh my God, it's hard to tell a teenager what to do, especially they're struggling going from home to home and something happened to their parents, nobody knows, they're not adopted by anybody, how to drive, how to study. You don't necessarily need to go to college, but let's get you somehow either a GED or a high school diploma. Let's get you some sort of resume and some sort of, if you're 16 to 18, I don't know if it would be good for each individual to work and put that money in your own personal account. So when you're 18, like, is there a program you could sign up for? A bridge program to adulthood without, you don't have family, like, you're not allowed to talk to your family, you're not allowed to call them, you're not allowed to get money from them. They got money because they had you. They probably got $900 a month per child, you know. It breaks my heart, guys. And I appreciate that I was able to have that little flip phone that my dad was paying for so that I could answer that call. But it was heartbreaking. And I was homeless myself, but I was in a housing program, you know. It's not even like I could invite somebody over, but you have to be careful when you have little kids and you got a 18-year-old with a boyfriend that are homeless. You have to be careful bringing people into your home when you have your own struggles and you have no money and no food and you have kids that need to study and everybody's sickly. Like, it's hard. My mind wish I had like a spare room, like a mother-in-law suite or a room above a garage where it's like, you got this amount of time, period. Like, you get out, and tenants like that can be given keys and then be told that you gave them the key and you're like a tenant, but you don't leave, and you take food and you use electricity and you don't pay. Like, it's hard. I don't like to be negative. I guess people would say negative, but it's like a reality. So I'm praying, like, hoping that, knocking on wood, that this young woman and all her siblings were fostered, that I know there's a few programs for scholarships or discounts for people that were foster kids sometime, but that's a lot. Like, that's a whole nother. I spent most of my life in Portland, Oregon, and there's Outside In Clinic was the clinic I went to when I left my ex. My neighbor told me to get STD, HIV testing. I think I only got HIV, not the rest. And I thought, oh, they're backed by being created for homeless teens. There's a lot of street kids and a lot of kids that were kicked out of their house. It's not like they were necessarily runaways, like, get out of the house. Or, oh, we found out you're gay, get out of my house, you 13-year-old. Like, one of my friends is like, had that situation. You know, I was out at 17. I did anything to get into college, and that was my ticket out. But that's not, I mean, I looked at the requirements. I barely got the requirements. I did pass the minimum requirements, but it was pretty average. I was pretty low on the list, and I'm lucky that I applied and did everything when I did. I was a smart kid, but the problems at home and the learning differences that nobody addressed, my mom didn't want. Certain times your parents, if they're narcissistic, they don't want their kids having labels, and I was going to be put in special education, and I was super smart, but I was kind of antisocial, and I was bored learning ABCs. I've told you guys this before. I've been reading books, this golden books, and stuff when I was little, and French and English books that my mom had for me in the room, little kid books with pictures of balloons and this. I mean, I'm talking about kindergarten and preschool. I was reading that stuff. So when we're learning ABC and the letter K, we think that she's handicapped. And what I'm realizing that I do have a distraction. I have an OCD where everything is... My grammar is really bad. Especially, I've been learning like 7 languages. My OCD with the grammar is weird, or the question is asked. Not like in mathematics, but like such and such. Like for medicine, this person is 68-year-old that needs a antihypertensive medication. What do you give them? Like, well, for African Americans, calcium channel blockers are the ones, but do you want to use a beta blocker, or do you want to use this and a diuretic first? But what about a loop diuretic? If they have a kidney condition, you got to look at what effect it has. Everybody else, when they took the farm, what is the state farm one for naturopaths in Oregon? They're like, oh yeah, that one was a Atenolol. That was easy. Oh, these were so easy. And my mind's like, they didn't give enough information. They said an age, and they might have said a gender, but they're not telling me the condition, other concomitant. Is that the word? Concomitant conditions. Like, oh my god. So that is part of my thing. It's like super precise and perfectionist, and I'll be sitting there trying to figure out. The question doesn't tell me the race, or whether they have a kidney condition, or whether they have congestive heart failure, or whether they have an allergy to something. The question in my mind, trying to figure out from the words and read between the lines. So I'm going to have the people tapping on my thing and says, you got 2 minutes left to finish the test, and you finished 2 questions out of 40, and then you wonder why you just answer everything the same and you turn it in, because it's like it's going to be something or it's going to be blank. So that's where my learning difference comes in, and then the dyslexia that I had somebody discover. So I'm going to tell you how many languages, and I'm going to turn this off, and I'm going to do some reflection. Spanish, Swedish, Arabic, German, Ukrainian, Russian, Navajo. I've been learning these since I don't think it's 2012. It was after 2012. Maybe 2016. I'll tell you next time I could find it on the app or something. I haven't been doing all the languages. I started with Swedish and German because my son was only speaking those languages for a while, and I did add to Spanish because I'm like, why not refresh myself? But I realized when I did 2 years of Spanish in high school, but I realized that I can't speak very well. And now I can read it really well. But the Duolingo is intense. There's so many lessons, guys. If you do it, make sure you don't forget about it. It's like a video game. You get addicted, especially if you use the app. So I recommend using the app and not using the app, because you'll get penalized in the app, and then you'll get stuck, and you'll have you'll have the streaks and different things that I do have, but I paid a lot of the coins to keep my streak at some occasion. So I really wanted to add Japanese just now, or Chinese, and I refrained from now. I don't know. I refrained for now, but I'll probably add it. I don't know if they have what's Indonesian, but when you have people tell you can't, they are not you. What I found is they stereotype you. For me, it was black, poor, single mother, recovering drug addict, and add on all this other stuff. I mean, even if I straighten my hair, that would push me up to being more like civilized and normal. If I did makeup, I would be pushed up. Whatever and people would say you don't have money for hair and makeup when you are that poor, right? But they're not paying the bills, and welfare's not paying the bills. So, like, I've had Medicaid since I left my ex, and I paid tens of thousands of out of pocket medical expenses. Like, I'm being not seen because of the insurance. I'm being blocked from care. My kids are being blocked from care. I have occasional. Even I had lost Medicaid, and then we made a mistake. I was like, I paid for $700 a month for insurance for me and my daughter at Pizza Hut, where I was making $12 to $15 an hour, and then you tell me you made a mistake for a year, but I was paying, and the deductible was $36,000. Like, I don't even make that much in a year. I have to pay that out of pocket before the insurance covers it. And as a doctor, I feel like if you do a screening physical yearly exam, it's supposed to be covered by an in-network provider. But as a doctor, we were taught if they have a normal, like a Z00.0 code, ICD-10 code, if it's like ends up being Z00 point what, if it's abnormal versus normal, then you have a diagnostic, so it's no longer a screening, it becomes a diagnostic visit that I would be paying out of pocket. You see what I mean? And don't quote me on that because every situation's different. But I didn't even go. I had bought dental and vision insurance I didn't even use because I was working so much to pay the insurance that I couldn't take off any time to go make an appointment. I even call and make an appointment, let alone go to an hour appointment. For Pete's sakes, it's being poor is not being lazy. It's not. You get stuck in a rut of being overcharged. There's people that are going to say we pay $2,400 a month for our family's insurance at our job, and I've heard people say that. But I'm like, okay, do you have two adults working full time? Are you making over $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 a month? Are you like able to pay your bills and not be $500,000 in debt? Then you're doing better than you think. Like, you're doing better than you think. And there's people that buy insurance off the internet that works that's cheaper than $2,500 a month for the group plan, right? Like, I'm just saying, there's options, especially if you have the income that you have, and especially if you have the support of your parents giving you money to help out. And that, I'm not saying it's not a struggle and that it doesn't hurt to see that amount of money go out of your account every month, but imagine like over one paycheck goes out of your account and your housing doesn't ever subsidize it, but every time you earn an extra penny, they push your rent up another $200. It's like, oh, I live in low-income housing. How much is it? $7,500. Like, how much do you make a month? Oh, $2,000. How are you paying that? I don't know. Selling all my clothes off my back, literally. But the shipping rate's so high, like, it just goes on. So how do I get out of this so-called dark cloud people saying it? These people tell you can't do it. They put you in this category where they say people like you can't do that. A. B. People like you, read between the lines, aren't going to get a degree or have a job that's more prestigious than me in my privilege and entitlement. C. People like you can't do this. You can't do this. You're never going to amount to anything because we could never do what you're doing. We can never be homeless, living in a tent, going to the stand in line for rotten food place, and then go to medical school. But I mentioned that's being a single parent, not a penny zero of child support. Even though you turn in papers for 17, or I guess it's more like 15 years for the state, they never enforced it. What am I supposed to do? People say, don't worry, just pay $3,500 for a lawyer. Then you'll get your money. A, if I had $3,500 laying around, I wouldn't need the child support or the lawyer. B, where am I going to come up with that money? For $220 a month that the state's charging him that he's not even paying. So that's like $4,000 a year. Big whoop. Like, that's 1 month in low-income housing. Thanks. Better than nothing. Maybe my kids would have shoes more often, for Pete's sakes. One, they want to say, stereotype you. People like you can't. It doesn't matter if you're not my demographic. Two, there's no way people like you are going to be at a higher level of what they think prestige, or if you get a job and you have a bachelor's and they have associates, there's some fear that they're going to lose their job security because you might be more qualified. It's not even about the degree. That's none of their business. It might be because you're a hard worker. It might be because you're busting your behind and you're doing a good job. And you're looking around expecting, like, imagining everyone else is doing a good job. And they are getting threatened by you. C, they couldn't do what you did. And I tell people, don't go to med school and get into debt unless you really know that's what you want to do and you can figure out how to not struggle like me. Don't do raw food diet. Don't do vegan. Think of the reasons why you want to do that stuff. What are your motives behind it? And what are the risks that you're taking? And what are you doing? For me, I'm an obese raw foodist, mostly vegan except for honey, eating tomatoes and cucumbers and getting fat. I'm going to have a cucumber because I just remembered that. Peace, guys.